extra fees outside of property taxes. Of course, everyone pays the property taxes unless there's some workarounds around that as well. However, my point is I don't want to find a mobile home in a mobile home park. Okay, so I want the land as well included. So all of these properties will be at least a quarter of an acre of land, all the way up to 1 acre of land or more. All right. So when you get to Zillow, what you're going to do is you're going to engine, and I just click randomly Ohio, and we're going to kind of go through step by step how to find these mobile homes. Okay. So let's go over the search process so that you can filter out properties that are in a mobile home park. Okay. So for sale, look at the price. Because of this video discusses properties with mobile homes under 30K, I will put $30,000 right here. Bed and bath, that doesn't matter to me. I would like to filter out everything. However, this is where the magic kind of happens. I'm going to deselect houses, townhouses, multifamily, condos, lots. The reason why I'm deselecting lots is because I don't want them to show me just land, okay? I want a mobile home on some land, okay? Apartments, and it says manufactured. All right, so let's go here. It says more HOA. I'm gonna say no HOA fee. I just discussed it. This is my personal search, so you can do however you please. I deselect this. I deselect owner posted. I just want to go directly to the agent. I want to deal with the agent. However, if you are comfortable dealing with the owner, you and the owner, that's fine. Keep that selected. Agent listed, yes. New construction. I know it's not going to be a new construction, okay? So I'm deselecting that because all, if not, well, most, if not all of these properties will be used mobile homes. Foreclosures, I'll leave that, okay? Auctions, I'll deselect. I don't want to auction property. Actually, deselect foreclosures and select foreclosed with the ED, right? And the difference is that these properties that are pulled up here will be owned by the bank. Okay, so the process is pretty much complete. It's owned by the bank, and they are just reselling to recoup all of their money. All right, so coming soon. I just want to filter out now. I want to know properties that I can purchase now. And here is another place where the magic happens. It says square feet. That doesn't bother me unless it does for you, and you can add what you're searching for. But lot size. So I discussed earlier that I want at least a quarter of an acre of land, and I put no max because they can pull up 10 acres of land, and I'm completely interested, all right? I'm looking for the acreage, all right? Now, when you scroll down here, you can leave the 55 plus communities. I just click don't show. I just want it to be more general. That's why I selected that. Other amenities. Okay, scroll all the way down. All right, I think we're ready to apply, and we're going to apply our criteria. All right, so these properties pull up. Notice you don't see many properties in Ohio, but it did say that they do have properties close enough to Ohio, or not even close enough to Ohio. It says within 80 miles, and you can filter that as well, that have properties under 30K or below. All right. So I've already done the research behind the scenes, and I found some properties that seem pretty interesting. Of course, this is where I put my due diligence warning. You have to do your own due diligence on all of these properties that you are seeking, interested in, or eventually purchase, all right? This is just for educational purposes only. I want to show you how much acreage of land is attached to this property and kind of go from there. So this one is 14,900. By the way, I do not want to hear this in the comments. I know that these properties need a ton of work and repair, which is why they are the price that they are. They're under $30,000 with land included. So you will have to have some repairs being made to the property. If you are a savvy contractor or just a savvy hands-on person in general, you can put some sweat equity into these properties and actually fix it up. There's a family that I watch. If you know the name, put it in the comment section. There's a family, I think it's All About God or something like that. That's the family that I watch on YouTube at times. And they purchased some land in Mississippi, I do believe, and they purchased from seems like a tax auction. And they put a mobile home on it, and they renovated the mobile home. They're still continuously renovating it, okay? So it's possible. Yes, it's possible. So this is 14,900. This is in Missouri. All right. So it says it was built in 2000, the year 2000, and it says it has 0.69 acres of land. So that's shy of an acre. It's close though. It's close enough for me in my criteria because I said over a quarter acre of land. So it just gives the description here. Make sure, guys, you also always verify the agent, the listing agent, real estate agent I'm referring to, that is listing the property. You don't want to, you just want to make sure everybody you're talking to is who they say they are, period. Right? So that's a part of your due diligence as well. So these are some pictures. Okay. All right, okay. I'm curious to know what was done in this property to make it, you know, the carpet's pretty dirty. Let me see. Huh. There's a water stain here. Okay. So we're going into this knowing that, whoa. We're going into this knowing that it will need, I mean, that's nothing but pulling the carpet up, right? That some things look scary, but underneath the surface, especially if you know what you're doing, it's not scary at all. Once you replace the carpet, clean it up a bit, of course. I think mainly you should be looking to ensure that it's foundationally and structurally solid. If that is the case, then you have a winner chicken dinner. And of course, these things, this is another thing about mobile homes too, is that the repairs are not as extensive, meaning costly, not as costly. They can get there, but they're not as costly as a traditional brick home, right? Brick and mortar or residential property is what I'm trying to say. All right, so let me go back to the listing. Again, this is $14,900. This is in Missouri, and it has 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. It's a pretty big property. So that's one. I did want to mention another one that I did see. This is in New Orleans. This is $17,000, all right? And it was built in 1987. 0.32, let me scroll down so you can see this. 0.32 acres of land, okay? So sweat equity is the name of the game. I discussed in one of my prior videos about how you could potentially enclose this mobile home and down the line refinance it, but that's in a prior video. I try to attach it to this video, meaning put it in the description so you can check it out. There's multiple ways to slice real estate. You may not want to live here, but you may want to purchase it. Okay, all right, I got some ideas. I mean, you may want to purchase this property. You could rent it out. You could also lease to own or own or finance this property to resell it to someone over time. You know, they're making payments on it. Many different ways to slice these properties and real estate in general. And I want to mention to you to make sure that you check zoning. So we're talking about the land being sold with this home. So you want to make sure that the zoning, you can use it to its maximum use, all right? Its maximum use is what you're trying to do, is what I try to do personally, is I try to ensure that I'm purchasing a property that could be used for multiple things, okay? Highest and best use, all right? That is the real estate term. And make sure, like I said, you check zoning because you could be able to place multiple properties or mobile homes on this land, okay? Or tiny homes or whatever that the zoning allows. You do want to make sure that you check that to utilize its highest and best use. All right. This one doesn't look as bad, of course. You know, it's just looks, is how it looks. But, okay, there we go. When I was wholesaling properties, I used to love them to look filthy and dirty and ugly. Like, those were the best deals. Those were my most profitable deals. The ugliest properties that I've ever wholesaled were my most profitable. Because other investors, especially if you're not savvy, you're looking at this like, oh no, but oh yeah, it's fixable potentially, right? Due diligence will tell you if it's fixable or not, and if this is a good deal. This is 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,280 square feet, $17,000. Pretty decent deal, but of course you need to look behind those walls and see what's going on. So this one is in, let me go back for a second. This one is in Kentucky. So this has 1.75 acres. Whew. I think out of the properties that I've pulled, this is just me briefly looking at these, make sure that you check zoning. So sweat equity, I think mainly you should be looking for to ensure that it's foundationally and structurally solid. If that is the case, then you have a winner chicken dinner. And of course, these things, this is another thing about mobile homes too, is that the repairs are not as extensive, meaning costly, not as costly. They can get there, but they're not as costly as a traditional brick home, right? Brick and mortar or residential property is what I'm trying to say. All right, so let me go back to the listing. Again, this is 14,900. This is in Missouri, and it has 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. It's a pretty big property. So that's one. I did want to mention another one that I did see. This is in New Orleans. This is $17,000, all right? And it was built in 1987. 0.32, let me scroll down so you can see this. 0.32 acres of land, okay? So sweat equity is the name of the game. I discussed in one of my prior videos about how you could potentially enclose a mobile home and down the line refinance it, but that's in a prior video. I'll try to attach it to this video, meaning put it in the description so you can check it out. There's multiple ways to slice real estate. You may not want to live in it, but you may want to purchase it. Rent it out. You can also lease to own or own and finance this property to resell it to someone over time. You know, they're making payments on it. Many different ways to slice these properties and real estate in general. And I want to mention to you, make sure that you check it out. So we're talking about the land being sold with this home. So you want to make sure that the zoning, you can use it to its maximum use, right? Its maximum use, what you're trying to do is what I try to do personally. So I try to ensure that I'm purchasing a property that could be used for multiple things, okay? Highest and best use, all right? That is the real estate term. And make sure, like I said, to 1 acre land or more, all right? So when you get to Zillow, what you're going to do is you're going to put the search engine in, I just put Landing, Ohio, and we're going to kind of go through step by step how to find this mobile home, okay? So let's go over the search process so that you can filter out properties that are in the mobile market. Okay, so the for sale, look at the price. Because this video discusses properties with mobile homes on 30K, I will put $30,000 right here. Bed and bath, that doesn't matter to me. I would like to filter out everything. However, this is where the magic kind of happens. I'm going to deselect houses, townhouses, multifamily, condos, lots. The reason I'm deselecting lots is because I don't want them to show me just land, okay? I want a mobile home on some land, okay? Apartments, and it says manufactured, all right. So let's go here. It says more. I put more. HOA, I'm going to say no HOA fee. I just discussed it. This is my personal search.